Alright, kindergartners, you're going to get your printed papers back today. We're going to start with the colorful one, the one that's on red or blue or purple paper. We're going to fold this in half like a big book. I also call this a hamburger fold because it's kind of shorter. I would call this kind of fold a hot dog fold because it's long and skinny like a hot dog bun. So we're going to do a hamburger fold. Looks like a book. And once you have that folded, Mrs. Cleary is going to come around and she is going to help you draw a line from a top corner down to the bottom. We are going to make this cupcake symmetrical. So I'm going to cut right on this line, and you're going to be cutting on your line, and you're going to end up with two scraps that are triangle shapes. And when I open up this big shape, I get a cupcake. Pretty cool. On this cupcake, we need to add some frosting. And we're going to do that with our other printed paper. I'm actually not going to use my scissors for this part. I am going to tear this paper in long pieces. So the long side is coming down. I'm going to take a little piece of it, and I am going to tear and try to get an entire long piece, just like that. Do you see how I tore pretty slowly? So I start by making just a little rip, and if I look at how big this piece is, it's about 4 of my fingers. So I bet if you put your hand right there, it's going to be as big as your hand. Tiny little tear. I like to keep this hand flat, and this hand does the tearing, but this flat hand moves down with it. So right now I have 2 pieces torn. Three. 4 and 5 pieces. If yours kind of maybe tear into smaller pieces, that's okay. I think I am also going to, when you guys are drawing, I might have you cut a little bit at the bottom of this cupcake, and Mrs. Cleary will draw that line for you, just so that your trapezoid gets a little bit shorter looking. Now, we're going to glue these pieces on like frosting. So this first piece is going to kind of overlap or go on top of the colorful wrapper. So what that means is we are going to glue right on that colored piece today a line of glue all the way across, and I'm on the long side of that trapezoid, and I'm going to put a piece of that torn paper down. And if you wanted to even tear a little bit on the sides, you could, so your frosting looks a little bit fluffy on the sides. Scoot that over a little bit. Now I'm going to put another layer of frosting on. This one's too long. I'm going to have to tear this one a little bit on the sides to make it just a little bit shorter. See how it got shorter? I hope you can see that in my camera. I'm going to put a line of glue on that piece of frosting that's already on there, and then this new one's going to come right on top, and then I'm going to do it again. I'm going to repeat this until I get a tiny little bit of frosting at the top. So this one's too long. I'm going to tear a little bit off of this one. We're kind of building almost like a pyramid of frosting where it gets smaller and smaller and smaller as it goes up. Cool. You know what I'm noticing is some of these scraps have a straight edge. So I'm going to tear so it looks like fluffy frosting on both sides. I am on my 4th piece of frosting right here. And I think I'm going to add a couple more. It's going to be pretty tall. That's good. A little bit more glue. And I bet I can get maybe one more layer. So I'm on my last piece of torn paper. I'm going to tear this other edge. I just need a tiny little piece on that side. Ooh, that looks pretty cool. So let's count how many layers of frosting I have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. At the top, you will have some red pieces of paper that you can use to make a small little circle. That could be the cherry on your cupcake. Just like that. While you guys are working, Mrs. Cleary will get a name tag on your project, and it can go in the drying rack when you're finished.